Hey, friend. Hey, hey. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all things about book talk, bookish things, and just books in general. Yes, that's what we do. That's what we do. Anyways, I'm here to talk today about my July reading wrap up since, we're in August. Whoop, whoop. This year has gone by really fast. But that's besides the point. Anyways, if you want to know what I read in July and you kind of want some book recommendations about what I've read, and I'm going to go in detail to you about why I gave stars the stars that I did and all the things, then sit down, grab your comfy blankie, get your water. Yes, yes, you get your water because we need to be drinking our water. We need to be hydrated up in here. Okay. 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 In July, I read, I think it was 11 books. Yes, I'm positive I read 11 books. And I want to go more in depth of like why I gave what I gave stars to. So let's just jump right into it. I had to write them down because something about being 30, over 30, you be forgetting things. Yeah, it's like when you turn 25, that check knee light comes on and that's it. That's it. So we wrote it down. Amen. Amen. Anyways, I read Fight by Sloane St. James. I gave it 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars because it was irritating. The MMC was very irritating. Like it had the miscommunication trope, and I personally do not mind the miscommunication trope if it's a real reason to have a miscommunication trope. But like from the jump, I get it that he had issues in the past. Okay, I get that. But I feel like you're a grown man. Like, knock on the door and find out what the issue is. But he didn't do any of that. He just proceeded to act like an entire butthead. And I don't understand why, but here we are. So I ended up giving it a 3 star, mainly because of the FMC, is why I gave it the 3 stars that I gave it. But the MMC was just agitating. He needed a little bit of work. His character, there was growth, but the growth was just, it felt forced and unrealistic. But that's besides the point. It is what it is. I gave it 3 stars. You go read it and you tell me how you feel. But for me, it was terrible. Also, I listened to this while I read it, so I did an immersive read. And the narrator said vigor. Like we all know what that word is, right? The word vigor. Okay, like vigorously vigor. Okay. He got on there and he said vigor. What? Well, that's not even a word. Let me know down in the comments. Let me know down in the comments. Is Viger a word? No. If it is, I'm wrong. But come back to me. Anyways, I read Ravage by Steph Macca, and I gave it 5 stars because Steph's out here doing the daggone thing. I buddy read this with a couple of my friends, and we all said the same thing, which was as you're going along, you don't realize that from the female main character's POV that your mind has now changed about certain things, and it really did become an enemies to lovers by book 3. Now yes, it is a why choose, and 2 of those in the why choose are like, eager, what's going to happen, but that third one messed with you because I'm going to be honest with you. I did not like his character. I found him to be annoying and irritating. And then all of a sudden, here I am, book 3. I'm in love. I don't understand. I don't know what she did and what she put in that book. But Steph Macker, you did your thing. Yes, ma'am, you did. You did your thing. I read Accidentally Married by Daphne Elliott. I gave it 4 stars. It was cute. I mainly liked it because this was the first FMC. She was a big girl. Now I have read other, big girl type books and stuff like that, but this was the first book where I felt, I don't know, seen. Like she was a size H in her boobs. Like what? And she was in her 30s. Like it's rare that we have books where the main characters are in the age group over 25. Usually it's the man who's over 25 and somehow the female is always like in her early 20s. That's weird to me, but that's most books of lately. So when I see a book where the main characters are closer to my age, that just does something to my heart. So that's one reason why I gave it the star that I gave it. I gave it an extra star. The story was sweet. It was like like a just a quick, palate cleanser, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I read Summer People by Brittany Nicole and Jenny Barra. I think is how you say her name. I don't really know. I'm bad at that, and I'm so sorry ahead of time. But I gave it 4 stars. Another, good, quick, short story. Just get your brain ready. Have things moving, flowing, yada yada yada. I read The Grump Next Door by Brighton Walsh. I gave it 4 stars. Again, it was another book about grown folk. Okay. It was about grown people. Like when I say grown people, I'm talking about like my age, like in their 30s. Again, we don't have very many books where the main characters are older than 25. So when we had somebody older than 25 and they was about that business, Bright Walsh did her thing, y'all. She did her thing with that. The MMC was just, it was like my husband. He was just so down to earth. He was a man's man. And then the FMC was just, she's out here doing her thing. She was, raising her own kid. Like they was just out here being grown folk. And I truly enjoyed that story. Matter of fact, I can't wait till the next one come out because I need to know. Like it ended on a cliffhanger, not between the main characters of this particular story, but it like dropped a bomb at the end and it was like, next book's coming out soon. Brighton, you mean meanie. Like, why would you do that to me? I am too nosy to have to wait. That's why I hate cliffhangers because I'm nosy. But that's besides the point. I'm nosy. We're all chismosas. It's okay. I read The Bone King and the Starling. That was actually recommend. Y'all hear that? That was actually recommended to me by my good friend Kima. It's I gave it a 4.5. The reason why I dropped it from a 5 star because it did get gory, and I have a really big imagination, and it like my brain just took it way left field. I feel, but the story itself, for a quick read as it was so good. I am actually upset that it's the only book. Like there's no more to it. She wrote what she wrote, and that's the end. And I'm like, why would you do that to us? I need more. I need more. But it was a really good quick read. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Kima, for that recommendation. I genuinely love that book. Okay, I read Bound in Blood with Sadie Kincaid by Sadie Kincaid. Lord have mercy. I read it as a buddy read with my good friend Joy. Period Joy. Anyways, I gave it a 3.75. I enjoyed the whole series. In the series as a whole, I gave it a 5. But that book by itself, I gave it a 3.75 because I get it. It was, a reverse harem and, there was, some things going on between the characters and I get that. However, by book 4, like we were to the big bad, things were starting to come together. The plot was plotting and then they just out here hunching. Why? Like it made no sense. Like there was a couple of times where I feel like they were just doing that to be doing it. That had no purpose to the story or anything like that. I have no problems with smut in a book if it makes sense to the plot line. Or you want to throw in a little steamy scene here and there. But this was just like used as filler and it seemed forced, so therefore it kind of made the story less enjoyable because it made no sense. I feel like they could have done other things in that chapters because this book had a lot of that in it and less of the plot, and I feel like that was just used to further the book instead of furthering the plot. Does that make sense? I feel like it makes sense. Anyways, I read Caught in the Act by Daphne Elliott. I gave that a 3.75. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't like, this big old, wonderfully written masterpiece. No, it was just like I needed to read it because it was a part of a series and I didn't realize that there was other books to this whole series. So I read it and honestly, the MMC again got on my nerves. He got on my nerves. He was just doing too much at certain aspects of it. Even in Accidentally Married, he got on my nerves. I was like, can this character grow up And the sad part was he was like in his 30s, like late 30s, and the girl was like her mid 20s, I do believe. And it wasn't that he was mean towards the FMC. No, it was his own family. Like he was just doing too much. I wasn't a fan. That's the end of that. I read Gothicana by Runix. I gave it a 4.5. That could have been a 5-star read, but the big bad at the end seemed very Disney, like ha 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 ha, like that type of deal. Like it was just very cartoonish, and it was just like so out of left field the way it came about. But I feel like it could have been better had the villain not been so just super cheesy, I guess is what you could say. But yeah, it was it was weird. I'm not even gonna get into it. I had a full breakdown with Kima about it, and I also buddy read this with Allie. We read this book together. We enjoyed it, and it's not that I didn't enjoy the book, but I did take away that half of that point because the villain was just she was doing too much, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to ruin it just in case you want to read it and the things. I reread Fourth Wing because I'm finally getting to read Iron Flame and Onyx Storm. Now, don't be coming down off in my comments talking smack because I'm not going to argue with you. Argue with you, mammy. I'm not doing it over here. What I do with my money is what I do with my money. Okay. Okay. Just know that I've done my research. I've seen what I needed to see. And that's it. That's it. That's all. These books were bought and paid for. There's nothing we can do about what's happened now. Okay. Okay. Period. Okay. Now that we're going into it, it's still a 5-star read for me because I am buddy reading this with Kima, Nikki, and Mia. We're all reading this together, and I reread Fourth Wing so that way I can prepare my brain for Iron Flame because I read Fourth Wing back in January. So it had been some time between January and July. So I wanted to refresh my brain, and we were going back through it, and just seeing the things that I missed the first time throughout the book was mind blowing. I was just like, I can't believe I like just walked right over that. That information was told right then and there, and I just kind of walked right over that. I really enjoyed it. It's still the ending still hit like it needed to hit. The villains were still villaining. Like it's just a good book. It really is. If you are a Potterhead, let me just say it's very Harry Potter coded. Very we were talking about that too. And that's the fun thing about buddy reading. You feel the excitement off of each other and you're able to talk out your theories with someone, and it also makes it fun that one of us in the group has read the whole series. So us reading it from a new perspective, and she's giving us like, the information that we might need, or I don't know, you might be on, that type of, it just makes it more exciting to read it. So again, if you're going to read anything that's fantasy, try to buddy read it because you'll be so shocked at just, what you're going through, and just the stuff that you can talk about and bouncing ideas off each other. It makes the reading even more fun. So if you're in a reading slump, find you a buddy reader, get you something that you could both enjoy together. I would recommend something funny because that also helps, and you'll be surprised at what your brain will pop off and do, and you'll get back into reading. The last book I'm going to talk about, I did not finish it. However, I did not have that much left in the book. And my friend told me just to go ahead and rate it what I was going to, because my rating to me seems fair, even though I didn't finish it. And when I say I didn't finish it, I only had maybe an hour left in the book, which was probably like that many chapters left in it. It was Dungeon Crawler Carl. I did buddy read that with Mia, but for me, it was one of those books where when I was reading it, it was very interesting, but like if I didn't read it, I was fine. Like it didn't bother me that I wasn't reading that book. I didn't wake up having to read the book. And that was mainly because I am not a gamer girl. I'm just now getting into playing video games. And so some of the jargon I didn't understand. I felt like there was a lot going on, even though it made sense to the story. Just my brain was just like all over the place with it. The comedy in this book was really funny. The characters in this book are very loving. Princess Donut. she's that girl. Okay. I will say this. I will probably end up going and finishing the series out, but it's just going to take me a longer time to do it because, again, I'm not a gamer girly. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be. But all in all, I gave it a 4.5 because it's well written. The characters are amazing. It's action packed. It's really funny. The storyline and the plot was really thought out. You could tell that he took his time with it. It's just for me where I'm not into D&D, and again, like I said, I'm just not getting into playing video games, and there's a lot of references and stuff to D&D and video game playing. I'm not into yet. That's not saying I'm not going to be into it, and that's not saying I'm not going to finish the series. It's just I'm trying to wrap my head around it. It's going to be one of those things that I'm going to have to sit down and just like focus on. But other than that, that is what I read in July. I hope you all have had a wonderful July yourselves. Let me know in the comments what you guys have read or how many books you read, even if you just read one or if you just read a sentence. Reading is reading, reading is subjective. Do not take what I gave these reviews on, do not take what I say to heart because reading is subjective. Just because I gave it a 5 star, you might give it a 2. Or if you gave it a 5 star, I might have gave it a 3. It is what it is. But you guys tell me what you think down in the comments. I hope you had a wonderful July. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Mwah.